Okay, in the last class, hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay, shall I start now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Starts.
Okay. In the last class, we were talking about iterations, right? We talked about while statement as well as the for statement. While statement, even though it looks like an or loop statement, but there are some few problems with the while statement. That is, we enter into an infinite loop if you not handle the conditional expression correctly. To avoid that one, now we have come out with a one more looping construct called as uh, the for loop, right? In the for loop, what happens? There is a definite way of terminating the for loop, right? So that is what we have seen it in the last class, right? So these are all the examples what we have seen. So that is how to uh, enter it in a finite loop or a definite loop. And there are few examples who have seen it, right? So there is one thing called as the iteration variable, which is going to read element from the set or the list, and the same value will be used in the other applications. And here we have seen the how to count the number of elements in the given set or in the list, right? And to find the sum of all the elements in the list, right? And this is how you are going to print the values of the set, and how to count the or find the sum of all, like to count the number of elements in the set, and to find the sum of all the elements in the set, right? And this is how to find the sum of all the elements as well as the number of iterations that you have actually traversed it, which is nothing but the number of elements in the set. Here we have 6 elements, so the number of iterations will be obviously 6. In the seventh iteration, in this condition fails, and it's going to find the sum and average. So let us look at the other examples of the follow. And here what we are doing is that we are trying to find the elements which are greater than 20, right? So what you are doing is that you are using the iteration variable, and this iteration variable will hold the values of the elements, or will hold the values of the set. So in the first iteration, what it will do is that the iteration variable will hold the value 9, and which is compared against 20, and 9 is not greater than 20, so it enters into a next loop or iteration. So where the next element is 41, which is copied to 40, sorry, value, and we are comparing the value, which is nothing but 41. Is it greater than 20? So if it is greater than 20, the larger number what you are printing is the value. And the next, in the third iteration, 12 will be copied to iteration variable. So now while the value is 12, which is not greater than 20, so what you are doing is that you are skipping these instructions. You're skipping these instructions and you are moving to the next element, third. So value is equal to 33, which is not greater than 20. Then these instructions will be skipped off, and it goes to 74. 74 is greater than 20, so it is going to print the value called as 74 on the terminal, right? And in the sixth iteration, 15 will be copied to value, and which is not greater than 20. So we have exhausted the elements in the list or in the set. That's why it will come out of the loop, and what it will do is that it will print something called as after. So there are two elements which are greater than 20 that will be printed on the terminal, that is before, which is a print statement what we have, and the larger number is 41, and the second largest number is 74, and just we have printing a message or a word called as the after. We have an if statement in the loop to catch or filter the values we are looking for, right? We can use the if statement within a for loop, no issues at all. And here what you are doing is that you are just checking whether the element is present or not, right? You are looking for an element in a given set, right? So you are looking for an element called as 3 in the list. So what you are doing is that you are first starting with the first element, that is 9. Is it equal to 9? Sorry, 3. If it is not equal to 3, then it will skip. And what it will do is that you're just going to uh, print the value something what as the found it is false in the initially, right? We're setting it as a false, right? False it is. Then what you're doing is that the found is again initialized to false. Then in the second iteration 41 will be copied to value, where value is or 41 is not equal to 3. The found is still false and the value is 41, and it prints the value something what as value is, so found is false, value is 41, and is again
One second.
why you are doing this repetitive instruction is that when there are some when the value is equal to 3, then we are setting the value or the found equal to true. So in that case it will carry to the next instruction or the next iteration as well.
ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತಾ
What that one, what you are doing is that we are resetting the value of the found in once you find that the value is equal to 3, right? So in the third iteration what happens, 12 is copied to value whether 12 is equal to 3, no, not equal. So found still equal to false and value is 12, and that will be get printed, and we are initializing or we are resetting the found equal to false. In the fourth iteration 3, so 3 is copied to value where value is equal to 3, and found is set to found is set to it's true. So now we are printing it, found is true, that is, and the value is just found it and found it. And once you have like found otherwise what happens, the found value will be carried to the next iterations, right? So for all the other iterations the found value will be it will say that it is true, right? But that is like what that found, what you are doing is that found is reset to value called as false, right? And in the fifth iteration 74 is copied to value and value is not equal to 3. So again we are printing it. This is the output what it appears, right? So before false, right? What you are doing is that found is equal to false, right? And in the first iteration 9 is not equal to 3, that's why false, and the 41 is not equal to is false, and 41 value is not equal to 3, false, and and equal to 3, that's why the found is equal to true, and similarly for other false and the respective values, and finally we're printing the value called as true. Now you values, right? So this is how you can I think false, right? Is anyone getting is there anyone? Hello, can you answer me why it is true? Yes,
Sir,
can you answer me? Hello,
yes, sir.
is there like why it is true? Why it is true?
Because
After found, which is equal to
two
2,
conditions, sir. Value is equal to 3.
why it is? Let us try to use the applications.
ಸರಿ ಬರಬಲ್ದು
ನೆಟ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಿಂದ್ರಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕದ ಯಾವ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಇದು EMOದಾಗ
ಝೂಮ್
ಯಾವ ಫೋನ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು
This is what the output appears to be. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
this is what the output appears to be. It is false, right? Actually it is false. So but in the output, so what you have seen it in the things, it is showing it as true, but it is false actually, right? It is not correct. Just make a correction out there. This is actually false. It is because the condition fails here. So so that's why uh, now I'll make a small correction out here. This is false here, right? After false, right? So I just want to search and know if a value was found. We use a variable that starts at false and is set to true as soon as we find that we are looking for, right? So this is exactly what you are. But the thing is that we are searching for an element in the given set or a list. And here is one more example of finding the largest among all the given elements. So which one is the largest element? So here we are using two keywords called as the if, is, and the none, right? Or if we are just finding whether it is greater than, is there any larger element in the given list or not. So what we are doing is that you are printing the value that is before the largest is none. So we are printing it, right? And for later what I am doing is that I am reading the first element, that is 3. If largest is none, or interval variable is greater than the largest. If it is greater than, that is anyhow none is greater than, sorry, none is smaller than 3, that's why largest is equal to interval variable. And in the second iteration, 41 will be copied to the interval and which is greater than the largest element. And like this, what you do is that we in the second iteration largest element becomes 41 because 41 is greater than 3. In the third iteration, 12 will be copied to the iteration variable which is not greater than the largest. So what you do is that the in this condition phase, it enters into the fourth loop or the fourth iteration. 9 is not greater than the largest element, which is nothing but 41. Like this, you are going to loop it, and at end of the sixth iteration, we will find the largest among all the 6 elements. And here, the largest among 6 elements is 74. That will be get printed on the terminal. That is the largest of the largest. That is before the loop, we set the largest to the constant none. None is a special constant value which we can store it in a variable to mark the variable as empty. That is, we are not we can initialize the variable that is the largest equal to none, which is nothing but a special constant that pass the this particular variable is empty. So in C and C++, what you used to do is that we are using what, largest equal to 0, right? We are using largest equal to 0. The same thing we are doing it, but with a different approach. That is, instead of 0, we are using none here. The Python has an is operator that can be used in logical expressions. Implies is the same as, that is, if the largest is same as that of the none, similar to but stronger than equal to. That is, we are comparing largest to what is that, none. None is nothing but whatever value we have initialized, or it is greater than the largest element, is not say, also is a logical operator. It is very similar to, that is, we are comparing the largest element with the given element, whether it is equal to or greater than the largest. That is exactly the meaning of the things. That is, this is basically used to, you know, it's used as a logical expression. That is, instead of double equal to, what I am doing is that we are using is, that is it equal to none, right? That is what the thing is. And that is same as that of the, in the previous case we have seen, in the previous program we have seen the largest number, but here in this case we are finding smallest element among all the six elements. Only thing is that we have to reverse the comparison operation. What you do is that we are comparing the smallest element has been initialized to null, which is nothing but a constant value, and this is get compared with the every element of the list, every element of the set. If the element or the smallest element is smaller than the given element or given element in the list, then it will be retained. Otherwise, the smallest element will be changed to the set element or the element of the list. Let us look at this one. The first, initially smallest is equal to none, right? And so we are reading the first element, that is it is copied to into one variable. Is thus, if smallest element is equal to none, it is true, or the interval variable, that is 3, is greater than, sorry, is it lesser than the smallest element? No, it is yeah, 3 is smaller than the the none element. That's fine. Smallest becomes the interval variable. Here 3 becomes the smallest element. In the next iteration, 41 will be copied to the interval variable. Whether smallest is still none, no, it is not none, or interval variable. Interval variable is 41. Is it lesser than smallest? Smallest is 3. It is not equal. Sorry, the interval variable is not lesser than smallest. Similarly, in the third iteration, 12 will be copied to the interval variable. This condition is false, whereas this one, interval variable, which is nothing but 12, is not lesser than smallest element. Like this, it will loop it through all the elements in the set. So after sixth iteration, we'll find the smallest among all these elements. If smallest among all these elements is 6, that will be get printed on the tunnel. That is print smallest. Which one is smallest? It is the 3, that will be get printed on the tunnel. This is what the smallest among all these things, right? These are few of the examples that is making use of the, what you call it as, the looping constructs, right? So that is the end of the what we call it as iterations, right? In this chapter, what we have studied is while loops, that is indefinite while loops we have talked about, and infinite loops, which we have seen it how to terminate infinite loops, or what is the meaning of the infinite loops. Then we have talked about how to break the infinite loops, right? Without using the conditional instructions or the conditional statements, how to break an infinite loop, that we have seen it. And using continue in the sense that how to make use of the continue in an infinite loop. That is basically the difference between break and continue, is that break will completely bring the execution control out of the loops, whereas continue will skip only a portion of the instructions or a portion of the block, and it will continue with the next instruction. And there is another looping construct called as the for loop, which is also called as the definite um, loops, right? And also in case of the for loops, we are using the iteration variables. So which iteration variable, which is basically used to hold the element of a given set, right? And also we have seen some examples to test or to find the largest and the smallest element among the given set, right? That is what for the iterations, right? The next one, we'll talk about string data types, right? String is one important aspect of any programming language. Without having strings, it's impossible to perform the operations, right? Or for some reasons, for some applications, you need to have the string data type to manipulate it. Let us discuss what do you mean by the string data type. A string is a sequence of the characters that we already know it. right? It's nothing but a sequence of character, or it is a group of characters which we generally call it as a string. A string literal uses a quotes, right? With that is, if you can enclose a string literal within a single quotes or the double quotes as well, both are literally they are valid one. You can enclose and literal is nothing but a constant what we are talking about, and in a pair of single quotes or in a pair of double quotes, that work. A string concatenation in the sense that you can enclose or concatenate, or you can put one string at the end of another string. The process we call it as the, or the method we call it as a concatenation. So to concatenate, we are using an operator or method called as the plus sign to mark it is a concatenation of the given string, two strings or more than two strings as well. When a string contains numbers, it is still a string, right? Even if you have numbers within a given string, then still it is treated as a string itself, right? So it is not considered as a number. We can convert numbers in string into a number using the integers, right? You have initialized a string as an integer string, but that string basically contains an integer. If you want to convert string into an integer, you can use a function called as an integer to convert a string into integers, right? That's what. So let us look at one example of how the string actually works here. So here are two strings we have it, string literals actually. This is one string literal and this is the second string literal. The first string literal, that is string 1, which is equal to hello, and string 2, which is equal to there, right? This is what we call it as the literals, because we are initializing a string data type. And later what we have done is that we have concatenated using a plus sign, right? That is nothing but, it is not the addition of the two strings, it is instead it is a concatenation of the two strings. That is string 1 concatenated, oh sorry, string 2, actually string 2 is concatenated at the end of the string pass. Now the output appears something like this, that is hello there, because hello is the first string 1, and hello is there in the second string. So what we have is that we have a concatenated string called as a hello there. And let us look at one more example here. String 3 is equal to 1, 2, 3, where 1, 2, 3 is no longer a number. It's no longer a number, but instead it is a string containing three characters, 1, 2, 3, right? Now what I am doing is that I'll try to add a number, or I try to increment the value of the 1, 2, 3, which is actually wrong here, right? String 2 is equal to string 3 plus 1, which is wrong. That's why you'll get an error message, because string 3 is not a number, instead it is a string, right? That's why you get an error message stating that straight back most recent code to the higher line cannot concatenate string to an integer object. So either if you want to uh, add this one, or if you want to concatenate this one to the end of the string one, you have to put this one within a single quotes or a double quotes. You can enclose within a single quotes or a double quote. Now the output appears to be 1, 2, 3, 1. That is one method. Or otherwise, if you want to add 1 to 1 to 1 to 3, then what you have to do is that you convert this 1 to 3, which is nothing but a string, into an integer type. That is exactly what we have done here. That is x equal to integer string 3. String 3 will be first converted into an integer, then 1 will be added to that. Now it becomes 122. So initially here what you have done is that without conversions, without typecasting, what we have done is that we have directly used the string which is wrong or which is incorrect. That's why you get an error message. So to avoid this one, what we have done is that we have typecasted it first. We have typecasted it. So what it has done, so string 3 is converted into an integer, then to this integer we have added 1 to that. So now it becomes the whatever the result you have, it will be stored into x, and that value of x will be get printed on the terminal. That is called as a 1 to code, right? So string data type, a string is nothing but a string. It's a sequence of characters or a group of characters, and all the string letters can be enclosed within either in a single quotes or a double quotes. And for concatenation, we are using plus operator, right? So and this is what, even if you are using numbers as a string, they are still treated as a string instead of a numbers, right? That is what the things. And how to read and what we call it as converting the numbers. We prefer to read data in using strings and then parse and convert the data as we need it, right? This gives us more control over error situations or bad user input. Raw input numbers must be converted from strings, right? If you have anything like if you want to input the values, you can do that using the string. Look at these examples. Name is equal to, that is enter input, sorry, input enter, right? Enter is something that we are asking the user to enter something. He enters something called as a chuck, right? So now what I'll do is that I'll print it, that is a the the value called as a name on the terminal, that is chuck. So now apple is equal to input enter 100, will enter it. So now we don't know whether it's a 100 is a character or an integer. We don't know it. So to check that one, what we do is that x equal to apple minus 10. So now what you have understood that 10 is an, for 100 is nothing but an integer, but actually it is treated as a string. That's why it has given an error message stating that it is unsupported operand type s for minus string and the integer. Here apple is a string, whereas in 10 is an integer, so we are subtracting an integer from a string which leads to an error. So to avoid this one, what you will do is that you have to convert or you have to typecast the value of apple. Now apple is a string, right? Apple is a string, so that has to be converted into an integer. Once the conversion happens, you can subtract it. Now the subtraction operation, we are applying the subtraction operation between two integer variables, so that is an array. Now what is output appears, it is nothing but the 90, right? So 100 minus 10, which is nothing but 90. This is correct. So try to understand that what, whenever you input something into a Python program, all the inputs are treated as an irrespective of whatever it is, doesn't matter. All the inputs are treated as the string data type, right? So look at this one, this is an string, and 100 is also a string, not an integer. So that's why you try to subtract it, it has generated an error message. So what this one, if you want to really have an integer type, so what you do is that you try to first convert that into an integer. Then what you do is that you do any of operations. Either you can apply the arithmetic operations or whatever you want it, you can do that. That is what we call it as reading as well as the converting. Here we are converting the things. And how actually a string appears to be, right? String, when you read a string, something like this, chuck, right? The chuck. So what you do is that, so the chuck in the sense that how actually it is seen inside the string. We can get any single character in a string using an index specified in a square brackets, right? So as you already know it, we are much familiar with the string handling, right? So all the strings will be stored as an array, right? And each array element has an index attached with it, right? So in this case, let us take an example. Banana is on string, so BANANA, right? Banana is having an index of 0, A is having an index of 1, N is having an index of 2, and so forth, right? So if you want to access a particular character within a string, so you just specify what the index value. You just specify the index value, the value will be get printed on the terminal, right? The index value must be an integer and start at 0, right? All the index value starts at 0 in a given string data type, and all the index types should be integers. You're not supposed to pass an floating point value, or you are not supposed to pass an negative value as well, right? So only in positive integer numbers you're supposed to pass it, which which starts from 0 and up to n minus 1. The index value can be an expression that is computed, right? You can compute the index value by using an expression, but the ultimate value or the outcome of an expression must be an integer, signed integer number between 0 to any number, right? So this is an example of the banana, right? Banana is b is having an index of 0, a is having an index of 1, n is having an index of 2, and so on, right? So let us look at this one. Fruit is equal to banana, and I want to extract the first character, right? Or let us take the second character. What you're doing is that letter is equal to fruit of, then within the bracket the index number. What is that index number? It is 1, right? 1 in the sense that index of 1, that is nothing but the a, that will be get printed on the terminal. So now we look at this. N is equal to 3, and fruit n minus 1. N is what? It is 3, and minus 1, it is nothing but an expression. We have seen here the index value can be an expression that is computed. N is an integer value which is subtracted with 1. So now you get the value called as an 2. And what is the value at 2? It is n, that will be get printed on the terminal. That is exactly what you have. In the first, the index value must be an integer and start at 0. Here is one example. This is a simple index what you have specified, absolute index we have specified it. And in the second expression, sorry, second case, what we have done is that we have passed an expression to state the index value. So now you have a as an input when the absolute index value has been specified. With respect to an expression, we have got it as an n. So the next one, if we exceed the character string, or the if you go a boundary of the go out of the boundary of the string, it will generate an error message. Let us look at this. You'll get an Python error if you attempt to index beyond the end of a string. Look at this one, BANANA, right, which is having a the index from 0 to 5. If we exceed it, let us try to write it as fruit 6. We'll write it as fruit 6. It will generate an error message. That is exactly what they are selling it, because we are going out of the boundary of the string, right? You'll get an Python error if you attempt to index beyond the end of the string. So be careful when constructing index value than slices. You can use an expression, any expression, including variables and operators, as an index, but the value of the index has to be an integer. Otherwise, you will get an error message. So here is one example how we are going out of the bound, beyond the boundary of the string, right? Jyoti is having ABC, right, which is nothing but 0, 1, and 2. 0, index number 0, index 1, and index 2. So what I am doing is that I'm printing a value or a string at an index called as 5, which is wrong because we are going beyond the boundary of the string. So it will string index out of the range, right? You are going beyond the range, that 5 will showing the error message. And one more thing is that the index can be an expression, including the variables and the operators, and but the value of the index to be an integer, signed index it is I am talking about, sorry, unsigned index. So from 0 to any value. If you use anything other than that, it will generate an error message. Let us try to see here. Fruit 1.5. 1.5 is not an integer number. It's a float number, right? That's why it generates an error message stating that strings indices must be integers, right? Here, what we have done is that we have used an index which is not compatible with the index values, right? Here it is so that one it generate an error message stating string indexes must be integers, right? So that's why two things you're supposed to remember is, one is uh, the the range of the index, you should not go beyond the range of the boundary of the string, and the index value must be integer, right? And to know the length of a string, we have something called as uh, a, a method called as the length, which is basically used to retrieve the length of the string, right? There is a built-in function length that gives us the length of a string, that is banana, BANANA, which is nothing but 0 1 2 3 4 5. So it will give you the total length in the sense that number of characters in the given string. So fruit is equal to banana, right? Banana, how many characters we have? So 6, and that 6 characters will be printed on the terminal, that is length fruit. Length is a function which is going to retrieve the number of characters present in the string, right? Here it is 6, that's why it will give an value code as a 6. And how to make use of the string values here to get the last character of string. Right, string length, to get the last character of a string, you might be tempted to write something like this, right? If you want to get the last character of a string, so this is what you are supposed to do it, right? Length is equal to length of fruit, the last character is equal to the fruit of length, which is wrong, right? Because length is 6 in this case. So in the case it is 6. So when I press 6 here, root of 6, there is no character at the index number 6. There is no character at the index number 6. That's why it will generate an error message called as a string index out of 1. So to avoid this one, what you do is that you have to subtract 1 from the total length, because that is nothing but the last character you want to get it. The reason for the index error is that there is no letter in banana with the index number 6. Since we started counting at 0, the 6 letters are numbered from 0 to 5. To get the last character, you have to subtract 1 from the length. The best option is that you're supposed to subtract 1 from the total length of the string. Now the length is equal to 6, and if you subtract 1 from that, that is 6 minus 1, which is nothing, 5. So 5, root of 5, which is an valid index, which is an valid index, what you have it, sorry, which is an valid index, the last character is a, so that value will be get printed on the ton. This is what you're supposed to remember. Even look, even the length is nothing but the number of characters present in the string, not the last index of the character or the last index of the string. And alternatively, you can use negative indices which count backward from the end of the string. That is, you can use it from the, if you want to know it from the last character, so what is the expression, you fruit minus 1 is the last character, last letter, fruit minus 2, which is the second last, and so on, right? So if you want to use uh, the indices, the negative, you can also use the negative indices. So but one thing is that negative indices, you will count the characters backward, right? And how to loop it through the strings, using a while statement and an iteration variable and the length function, we can construct a loop to look at each of the characters. So using while loop, we can read the character and it on a terminal. Let us look at one example here. We have initialized fruit equal to banana, and index has been set to 0. And this index is like initialized to 0 means we are reading each character from the string, and we are printing it on the terminal, right? So while index is lesser than the length of fruit, right? Because lesser than we have taken it because the index is always one lesser than the length of the fruit. That's why it is lesser than the length of the fruit. Then we are reading the character at the given index. So initially 0 index is 0, root of 0. So we are reading the
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಡೋದು ಬೇಕಾ
and in looking at 0, and the letter at character is nothing but 0 and b, and we are incrementing the value of the index is equal to index plus 1, or otherwise we are advancing the index value. Index, is it lesser than the length of the fruit? Yes, if it is if it is true, then we are reading the next index value, or the value at the given index. Index is 1 1, the value at the 1, which is nothing but A, and that is we are going to print that. So like this, for all the 6 characters we are printing it. Once the index becomes equal to the length of the string or the length of the string, we are terminating it. You look at this one, by using a while statement and an iteration variable and the length function, we can construct a loop to look at each character, each of the letters in a string individually, right? We can read each character from the string and we can print it accordingly. And the same thing can be done using the the for loop as well. A definite loop using a for loop is much more elegant. The iteration variable is completely taken care of by the for loop. Fruit is equal to banana. What I am doing is and for letter in the fruit and the print letter. So what I am doing is, you look at the difference between the definite and the indefinite. Here we have used so many instructions, right? Fruit is, this is obviously one, and here we have used the index and we have checked the boundary of the string, and if the boundary of the string is not at reached, then we are reading character and we are incrementing the value of the index. But look at the for loop, the simplicity of the for loop here. So we have not done anything. What we have simply done is that we have initialized an iteration character, iteration, we have uh, Kalila. So this is the simplicity of the for statement. That is, fruit is equal to banana. Then what I am doing is that the letter, which is nothing but an iteration variable, and which reads the character one by one within the given string, and once the and it will take care of the boundary of the string as well. Once you reach the boundary of the string, so it will automatically terminate. That is exactly what you have it. A definite loop using a for statement is much more elegant. The iteration variable is completely taken care of by the for loop. That is, it is the iteration variable is going to be taken care by the for loop, and in other words, where this is well aware of the boundary of the string as well. A definite loop using a for loop is much more elegant. That is exactly, this is what the difference between the previous one, that is a for loop, and the while loop. That exactly what I have explained it. Here is one more example of to count the total number of characters in a given string, right? What is initialized to banana? Word is initialized to banana and count is equal to 0. And for each iteration variable in the word, so what I am doing is that you're counting, sorry, you're actually counting the number of e's in the given string, right? So word is initialized to banana and count is equal to 0, and we are starting the iteration variable letter. If the letter is equal to a, then we are counting it, right? We are incrementing a count record as count is equal to count plus 1, right? In this case, for the first character, a is equal, b is not equal to a. That's why this instruction will be skipped and it will go to the next character a. A is equal to a, the count value will be incremented by 1, it becomes 1. So for the third iteration, n in n, which is not equal to a, so the count is still 1, so still 1. And a, so which is equal to a, and the count will be incremented by one more time, it becomes 2. And similarly for the fourth iteration, fifth iteration, and sixth iteration, the count value will be incremented accordingly if the letter is equal to a. So in this case we have three a's, so the count value will be equal to 3. This is a simple loop that loops through each letter in the string and counts the number of times the loop encounters a character called as a. And the same thing, just instead of using, or you, instead of storing the character sort of wall string in a variable, what I am doing is that I am using the literal of that string literal we are using, banana we are using. The iteration variable iterates through the sequence. The block of code is executed once for each value in the sequence. The iteration variable moves through all of the values in the given sequence, right? We are having a sequence here. This is called as the order set or the sequence. And what the iteration variable will do is that it will uh, move through all the characters within the sequence of the ordered set. So in the first iteration, the iteration variable will be having the value called as b, that will be get printed, then a, n, and so on, right? It will move through, or it will iterate through all the characters within the given things. So that is what the advantage of the iteration variable and the in, right? So this is what iteration variable. The iteration variable iterates through the sequence, that is ordered set. The block of code is executed once for each value in the sequence. The iteration variable moves through all of the values in the sequence, right? So that's exactly what we have. So the next one, it is slicing the strings. That is how to get a, or how to get a portion of this string within a given string. Portion in the sense that if you want to extract only two characters, or if you want to extract only one character, or if you want to extract a substring of a string, then the process, the entire process, we call it as the slicing. So we can also look at any continuous section of a string using a colon operator, right? If you want to extract a portion of a string, you can use an colon operator to extract it. The second number is one beyond the end of the slice up to, but not including, right? You can extract the characters from beginning from a index up to the given string. If the second number is beyond the end of the string, it stops at the end. If the here one more thing is that, as you already know, that if the index goes beyond the string, so it actually generates an error message in the normal case. But in the slicing, this doesn't happen. If the if the number, second number, is beyond the number or beyond the index, then or beyond the last index, then it's not, instead of generating error message, what it will do is that it will slice only the character up to the last index. That is exactly what the operator n colon m returns the part of the string from the nth character to the mth character, including the first but excluding the last. It will exclude the last character, but up to that point it will generate, or it will extract the things. Let us look at the example how the slicing of the strings will be done here. So here is one example, Monty Python. M is having an index of 0, 0, O is having an index of 1, N is 2, T is 3, Y is 4, and space we have it, which is also considered as a character, so which is having an index of 5, P is having an index of 6, and so on up to 11th index. Now I want to extract some portion of the string, so I'm just specifying S and a bracket 0, that is from the beginning to the fourth index. Now what happens? It will extract all the characters beginning from an index, right, including this index 0 up to an index lesser than the 4. Now this is 0, 1, 2, 3. It won't print the index number 4. Excluding this index 4, it will print all other characters. The output appears to be MONT, because this is 0, 1, 2, and 3, not the fourth index. Similarly, 6 colon 7 means that it will print only one character, because 6, immediately after 6 we have 7, right? The 7th index will not get printed. That's why only one character will get printed, that is 6. So from 6 to 20 means that it will print only 6 characters. Look at this one, 20. 20 is not within the range of the index. So still it will consider that one as a valid index. What it will do is that it will begin from the 6th index and it will go up to the boundary of the list, or it will go up to the last character of the string. So with that one, the output appears to be PYTHON. Only these characters will get printed, and the remaining character, we don't have any other characters here, that will be skipped out, and your output appears to be the Python, right? Even look at this one, even though this 20 is beyond the boundary of the string, it won't generate any error message. That is exactly what the operator n cover returns the part of the string from the nth character to the m character. This is n, this is m. So from n character to m character, excluding the mth character, excluding the mth character. That is what. And so here is one more example of the things here. If you leave off the first number and the last number of the slice, it is assumed to the beginning or end of the string respectively, right? So it is, if you leave the first character or the last character, means that it is either the from the beginning or from the end. Look at this example. That is S:2. That is from beginning to the second character, excluding the second character. That's why it will print the zero value. So the character at the 0th index and character at the first index, not at the second index. Look at this example. That is, I have specified only n, not m. That is one. That means from 8th index up to the last character, or up to the last character of the string, which is nothing but 8th index THON. It should print all the 4 characters because the starting index is 8. That's why it will print all the 4 characters. If you don't specify anything here, either n and m, the entire string will be get printed. That is, it is something similar to printing print s itself. It's just printing the value called as s. So that is what the value here. If the first index is greater than or equal to the second, the result is an empty string represented by 2 quotation marks. If the first index is greater than or equal to the second string. So look at this example. Fruit is equal to banana. So what I'm doing is that I want to print the value, that is 3 and 3. It should print an empty string stating that there is no character here. There is no character. That is what the things, right? You can either specify both the values, that is n and m, or you can specify only n, or you can specify only m. So that works fine. And there is one more example that is called as a string concatenation. When the plus operator is applied to the string, it means the concatenation. So let us look at an example here. A is equal to hello and b is equal to what? A plus there. A is what? Hello plus there, right? So hello there. That is, we are not leaving any space here. If you want to leave a space, what you do is that you have to concatenate one more string called as a space. We have to concatenate one more string, so that is space, which is nothing. C is equal to A, which is nothing but hello, plus is nothing concatenation and a space, then an concatenation, then there, which is nothing but the hello there. In the previous case, what I have seen, there is no space in between hello and there. But if you want to include a space in between hello and there, what you have to do is that you have to concatenate empty string or a space in between hello and there as well. This entire process we call it as a string concatenation, right? This is for the today's class. In the next class, we'll talk about string or immutable, right? So that is for the class. So what about others? Only 17 were present here today. Hello? Only 17 are present here. What about others? What about others? Hello?
Yes, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರಪ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನುಳಿದವರು? 17 ಜನ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು?
Sir.
ಹಾ
ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ.
ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮೇ ಬಿ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್ ಆ
ನೆಟ್
ಊರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇನ್ನುಳಿದವರು? 17 ಜನ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ನೇಟಿವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ.
ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಂದು 4 ಜನ 5 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 23 ಜನದ ಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? Ask them to log into the system, right? In the next class I'll see it. Henry,
Yes sir.
we'll stop it here and I'll inform the next session, right? Regarding next section I'll inform it, right? Thank you.